All right, so this is going to be a much longer video, only because we're going to go through all of the triggers and all of the actions in the automation section. I'm going to show you what they mean, what they are, and maybe a simple use case so you can kind of understand how you could use it. So it's going to take some time. I'm not going to break this video up. Um, Half of it is going to be triggers. The other half is going to be the action. So let's just go ahead and dive into it. So before I start any automation, you need to hit add new trigger. So some of these are self-explanatory, but I'm going to go over them anyway. Birthday reminders. So meaning you connecting birthday information, they hits that date, you can send them a text, email, an event, whatever that may be. Contact changed. So this means if you have a contact, you can have something called custom fields. This is data you're collecting that's outside of the norm. What I mean by, let's say you have a questionnaire, and let's say the data you collected originally changed when they filled out that form again. You can start an action from there once that happens. Contact created. This simply means that when you create a contact form, landing page, whatever that may be, they put their email in the chat. It starts an automation. Contact D&D. This means contact do not disturb. That means something happened. They probably hit stop or stop on your text messages and unsubscribing your emails to warn they don't want to have contact from you anymore. So when that happens, you can create an automation from there. Tag. So when a contact has a certain tag, meaning let's say you have a newsletter on your website and they put their name and email to subscribe to that newsletter and you tag them as newsletter subscriber, then they can get an email, a welcome text, whatever you collect from there. Custom date reminder. So this is for events, for your webinars. So you set a custom date, and from there, it's going to remind you. And once that reminder takes place, then certain things are going to happen, whether it's going to be internal communication or external communication. Note added. So as you know previously in the contact section, you can add notes to people. Whenever a note's added, you create action from there. Note change. So let's say you had a note previously, you've updated it, added more information, start automation. Task added. So as you know, under the contact section, you can also add tasks for people. Like I gotta call John next week. He wasn't ready this time. Or do X, Y, and Z in the back end with this workflow. When a task is added, then you can send a text to the team lead, whoever handles the operations, stuff like that. And task reminder, same thing for the most part. If you you can set reminders when you develop the task on the front end in the contact section. And then once those reminders happen, more things happen from there. Task complete, self-explanatory. Stuff happens after you complete a task. Contact engagement score. So I need to go in depth a little bit on this. This is one of GHL's newer features. So pretty much if you go to the settings and cut on engagement scoring, you can assign a score to somebody based on actions they take in your system. So, for an example, let's say I'm going to do a 100-point scale, and if somebody gets a score of 80 or above, they're considered a hot lead. So, let's say I'm going to assign 10 points if somebody books a call. I'm going to assign 5 points for every opened email. I'm going to assign 15 points for every clicked email. I'm going to deduct 20 points if somebody unsubscribes from my email. So as you can see, this allows you to see who is more likely to close and who is, further along or is not as far along in the customer journey. It's a feature that's similar to HubSpot, where they have like a probability score based on lead actions, but this is just something more manual that you can measure a little better. All right, let's get to the event side. As you can see, there are a lot, so please hang in there with me. So the next is inbound webhook. So this is more of the technical side. As you have an inbound webhook that you may make on Zapier or WordPress or somewhere else, automation starts. Call status. So you can do calls from GHL. At the end of it, you can put your call status. Depending on what they put, you can change the next set of events. So meaning leave a voicemail, text your sales guy, hey, we left a voicemail. That way everyone knows what's going on. Email events. So someone clicks an email, opens an email, marks email as spam, unsubscribes. You can create a next set of actions. They can put them toward a different workflow, unsubscribe them, or whatever that may be. See, customer replied. So somebody sends you a text, an email, they reply, next set of automations. Form submitted and survey submitted. So form submitted is your simple form that you're going to create in this form builder. And the survey builder is obviously what you're going to make in surveys. Your automation is going to happen after those two things are completely filled out. Trigger link clicked. Excuse me. You do have something called trigger links in the marketing section. It's going to allow you to create custom links and attach them to other links. So what I mean by that, I can turn my calendar link into a custom trigger link. And when somebody clicks that, I can say, hey, I see you click to book a call. Does me want to make sure that you book that call or not. So things like that. Facebook lead form submitted and TikTok lead form submitted. So on Meta ads and TikTok ads, you can have lead gen forms on your business account for when you run ads. Now instead of having it where they fill out the form and it sits there and you got to download a CSV file, you in the integration section you can attach these two and then start the next set of automations from there. So instead of like, hey, you got to wait for your sales, got to download a list of leads, they can already get a text, already get notified for someone to reach back out, so on and so forth. Video tracking. So in the funnel section, you can create a video, right? You can add a video for native hosting. And then depending on how long of a video that was watched, you can send them something. So it's a really cool feature. I kind of like it because it makes it more interactive and you can see exactly how much the video, how much of the video people actually watched and kind of measure from there. So number validation. So if you're sending text messages from GoHighLevel, then you definitely need to be validating the numbers because you don't want to have a high text bounce rate. The higher the bounce rate, the more likely you're going to get your email suspended or paused, and you don't want that to kind of stop the flow of business. Same thing with messaging error SMS. The validation should make sure that the error never happens because if it's validated, then and it comes back as not being valid, then it won't send the message. But let's say you don't have that feature cut on, which you can do in the settings section, the business profile section. If you don't have validation cut on, you just have the messaging. Then if it's an error, you can create automations to kind of make sure you don't talk to that person again. LinkedIn lead form submitted. This is the same as the Facebook and TikTok. You attach your business account. You can do automations from there. Funnel website page. Sorry, funnel website page view. Couldn't get that out. So this is a little different because this isn't going to happen unless they opt in to a landing page to begin with. So I don't want to get this confused that if you put this here and now when anybody sees your funnel on your website, they can get automations. That's not going to happen. So let's say I have a landing page, they opt in. And if I have a second page, let's say it's a calendar page, I can see how many actually viewed that page and who just immediately clicked off. If I have an upsell or a downsell page, right, or a squeeze page, then I can see who's clicking those pages. Review received. So if you received the review, what you can do in the reputation section, then you can set an automation. Let's say you want to do a text message thanking them, or let's say you did like a review raffle where you said, hey, you send a review, you get a possibility of X amount of Z off my services. Then you can send that to that person if need be. Appointment status. This means that if you click here, and then this kind of goes for event type, and then depending on which one you put, then it will start the automation. Meaning, so includes any event type. I don't like using that one because it's far too broad. Now, customer booked appointment. This is automation that's very important because once you click it, and this is rule of thumb, you add a filter and you find your calendar and then you find the calendar that you're using. If you don't do this, and you make automations on top of your calendar flows and you don't put that filter, it's going to do it for every single automation. For every single time someone books a calendar, which is going to cause confusion, mess up your messaging, you're probably going to lose that lead. Opportunity. So this section, we went over it earlier. You know about the opportunity status. So if the status has changed, automations happen. If they're created, meaning somebody comes from, hey, they filled out your form, you create automation where you put them in the opportunity section. Then another workflow, this would be more applicable. Opportunity changed. This is if someone mainly is manually dragging them back and forth from the opportunity section. And then from there, automations happen from there. Pipeline stage change, same thing. If they're moving from the pipeline stage, then you're going to start this automation and it's still opportunities. So in the status, you can change it from open one and then stale, right? So if it's stale, then obviously you want to create automation from there to remove them or whatever you want to do from there. Affiliate. So as you know, you can create your own affiliate campaigns and GoHighLevel. So if you create an affiliate, you can create automations. If you have a new affiliate sale, you can log their information so that you know how much you need to pay them. Right now, there isn't an automatic sales system. You probably more than likely have to do it with PayPal or with another provider, but just so you can keep all of your affiliate stuff organized to the best of your ability. And then when a new affiliate rolled in a campaign, so you can create multiple campaigns. So me, I also sell ManyChat courses for those who are familiar with ManyChat, and then I may have affiliates to help sell that course. And when somebody enrolls, I'm then notified. See, yeah, it's a long list. So now let's look at courses. So pretty much most of these have something to do with the categories within courses. So if someone started a new category, then you can send them a message telling them thank you, telling them, congratulations. They move on to the next part. Lesson started, same thing. Lesson complete, same thing. As you know, the categories are the subsections, and the individual lessons are the lessons under those modules. So make sure if you look back at the core section, you'll get a better idea of what I'm talking about. New signups. Have a new course sign up. You create automation where you get notified, team get notified to keep your sales numbers on point. Offer access granted. So in another screen, just because someone doesn't natively land on my offer and sign up, I can still give them access. Let's say I'm doing like a monthly course and someone doesn't pay their invoice. I can create automation that removes their access over a certain amount of time. So definitely very useful automation. Same thing, product access granted, and product access removed. That's pretty much the same thing as the offer. They call them offers, but they're also called products as well. This is back. I think these were set up back when GoHighLevel was more in its infancy when it came to managing a lot of their core stuff. So these are in essence literally the same exact triggers. Product started and product completed, the same thing as the courses. So don't worry about that. A new user login, meaning somebody logged into the course. As you know, when you see the course screen and someone clicks that link again, they have to log in. This signifies automation when that process starts. Payments, self-explanatory. Automations happen when you send an invoice, meaning you can do reminders. You can do thank you messages when somebody pays your invoice, things of that nature. Payment received. So you receive the payment, whether that's on a funnel page, invoice, whatever that may be. You collect them on your calendars, whatever, how you collect that payment, you can start an automation. Order form. So on the funnel pages, you have 1-step and 2-step order forms. This is for the funnels and the websites, excuse me. And if someone finished those forms and they check out, then you can go ahead and send them to the next stage of the process. Contracts and documents. So if you go to the payment section, somebody fills out one of your contracts or your client agreement forms. Again, send them a text to say thank you, send them an email, let everybody know what's going on, automate that whole process. Same with the estimates. You have another estimate window that you can do the same thing with, as well as your subscriptions. So if you have a subscription product that you're selling, somebody subscribes to it, then you can create the appropriate workflows from there. Now, just because it says subscription, you can create a subscription as the payment link and it still have the same thing as far as payment received. This really just depend on how in depth you want to go with how your triggers are starting, and a refund. So if you create a refund with GHL, this will of course keep everybody notified. Now Shopify, um, if you have a Shopify integration, this is what this will be used for. I typically don't recommend GHL for your e-commerce stuff, even with on the automation side. But again, this is for creating abandoned checkout flows, for placing orders, and to fulfilling orders. IBR. So y'all know what IBR is, right? IBR, press 1 for sales, like, 2 for this, 3 for this. That's what IBR is. You can set that up, but if you set this up, this is going to take away your missed call text back feature if you have it enabled, or your AI calling feature if you have that enabled. So be mindful. And then you can also add an AI voice to, make it sound a little less robotic. Facebook, Instagram events. So, have you heard about software called ManyChat? That's the software where you can say, comment this to get this. This is, in essence, GoHighLevel's attempt on doing that for this particular workflow trigger. However, it's a little, I would say, infantile because a lot of errors and it's kind of hard to kind of develop the flow you want. I would probably recommend sticking with ManyChat and also using this. I don't even use this for myself or my clients. I still prefer ManyChat. But if you want to use it, it's here. If someone comments a keyword, you can send them something. Someone on your business Instagram or your creator or business Instagram or your business Facebook. But again, I highly recommend using ManyChat still. And it's for your community. So if you grant access, you revoke access, have a private channel, you want to take away that private channel, then you can have follow-up automations from there on a group member level change. So meaning, communities, you can assign levels based on engagement, meaning if I post something and my community members like it, comment on it, I get points. The more points I get, the more I level up. That's how to gamify your community, make it a little bit more engaging, a little bit more fun. And certificates issued. So this is for, if you want to create a course and submit us a certificate, this is how you can use that. These are apps that you can get from the App Store. I'm not going to get into these because these aren't necessary. Some of them help with functionality, but for the most part, I would not worry about these secondary apps right now. Primarily, you're going to be in this triggers menu, at least down to where it says uninstalled. However, if you do have like a Nimni account for a payment processor, you might find use for it. That's 100% up to you. So, all right. So I'm going to create this video ran on a little longer than I would want to. So I'm going to actually stop here and then let you guys catch up. And then we're going to go ahead and go into the actions. You see just as many triggers. It's almost just as many actions. So we want to make sure we allot the amount of time for that and get you guys set up. So I'll see you the next one. All right, so now we're about to go over the actual actions. We already went over the triggers. And the thing about it is, if you plan on creating some workflows for the company or company you're working for, then you need to know what all of the triggers and the actions mean. Again, there's a ton of them, so we're going to go through line by line, explain them, and in later videos and tutorial sections, you'll see me break down how to use them in real time. So I'm not going to do that today. Again, we're just doing an overview on what all the actions are. So when the trigger starts off, we're going to start with the first one, create a contact. This is kind of unnecessary because anytime someone leaves you your email, like for the form builder through third party integration, that contact is going to be created. So this is here, but it's not 100% necessary. And second one is find contact. So this may be if someone does a charge or someone pays for something, you want to find that contact and do an automation from there. Update contact field. So this can mean somebody fills out a form and then the form gets updated. You want to make sure that that actual contact custom field gets updated as well. And where this kind of is applicable, let's say you ask two different questions on two different forms. So you want to make sure the right contact data gets updated. Then that's how you would, this is where this will come into play. Add tag. So again, form filled out for whatever reason, whatever that reason is, you tag them so you know why they're in your ecosystem. Same with remove tag. Let's say they were a no-show appointment, but now they booked an appointment and they showed. You want to remove them as the tag that says no-show appointment. Assign the user. This is huge because a lot of people on here are using them for sales teams. If you get a particular lead, you want to assign that lead to a user that's then responsible for completing the sales process. Remove assigned users, obviously the opposite. You're removing that person from said contact. Edit conversation. So don't see a lot of uses for this, but this means if you're like sending DMs or you're sending a text message and you want to do a quick edit and the message is pretty consistent, then you change that and meet that criteria. Enable enable do not disturb mode. So an example of this would be if a contact number can't be validated, then you want to put them on do not disturb. That way you don't continue to send that person a text message and get your number flagged for repeatedly sending out to numbers that don't work. You don't want to have bounce rate when it comes to SMS. I can't stress that enough. Add to notes. So again, let's say you have a custom form you're filling out and you know one of your salespeople or you plan on doing a sales call later from GHL. You then can take the contact fields and add them into the notes automatically, but that you have to do it physically. So it gives you an edge versus doing it all by yourself with your hand. So then you can add a task. So if something happens, you need to follow up. Somebody clicks a link, say, hey, I want to follow up in a week. Then that task is automatically generated. This is copy contact. So with GHL, you can have multiple sub accounts. So let's say you do have 2 or 3 accounts and you want to copy it from account 1 to account 2. That's how you would do it, by clicking this copy contact. Delete contact. So explanatory. Maybe it's somebody unsubscribes. Someone, if they unsubscribe to your text and your email, you really can't contact them. It's probably better to just delete that contact. Modify engagement score. So again, that goes back to the first trigger where I said, hey, they book an appointment and you can possibly assign them 10 points for engagement scoring. And so let's say you want to modify that because you have a new calendar. I don't want to assign 10 points. I want to assign 25. That's when you would modify that score here. Add contact followers. So this can be either social media related or just depending on what channel they're on, you can actually add their followers or add an actual account here. All right, so now communication. So the basics: form filled out, survey filled out, contact form filled out, DM sent, text sent. That doesn't really matter. These are your ways you're going to communicate back with them. So again, you can send an email, send a text, add that communication to a Slack channel, so third-party integration. Then you can also do a call. You can add a voicemail. Isn't a physical voicemail. You are going to upload an MP3 file, add that to the workflow step, and so it's going to call their phone one time and leave that voice note. So very helpful tool. Highly recommended for people doing like webinars and sales stuff because again, you can hear your voice versus reading a text. Messenger. So this works. These can only work if they've already messaged you on Messenger. So let's say you have automation where someone DMs you a certain keyword in your Facebook Messenger. You can respond back with another automation, but it has to be on Messenger. You can't mix it with Instagram and vice versa. You have to keep the contact channels consistent. The same thing goes for Instagram. So manual action to SMS. So this will kind of give you a manual prompt to send someone a text if they reach a certain point in the workflow. The same for call. This is for your Google My Business. This option was available, but as you can see, Google is sunsetting their Google My Business profiles. And this is for Facebook Interactive Messenger and Instagram. So remember when I said earlier about them doing their comments to get this and the comments to get this. So this actually is the message portion. So you set up a trigger for them to get the comment, and then the next stage you send the message that gives them the thing. So that's kind of how that works. I think I skipped one. Okay, sorry. So send internal notification. So this can mean when somebody fills out one of your lead gen forms, you want the team to know. You want to know when someone downloads a new freebie that you're testing, whatever that may be. Send review request. So let's say it's been 2 weeks after you work with somebody. You can put in a wait step, and then 2 weeks later they get a request for a Google My Business review or a review to your actual Facebook business page. Conversational AI. We're going to touch on this more on another section, but conversational AI is the AI that's attached to GHL. You can attach it to your website, and it's going to house the data from the business by crawling your actual website. And they can answer questions, book appointments, things of that nature. WhatsApp. So you can, send a WhatsApp message if you're using that. So people who are not US based, most of them use WhatsApp for their communication. That's where this will come into play. Send message live chat. So again, if someone's doing some live chat stuff and that's your focal point and you want to make sure you cover all your areas, you would utilize this action for that trigger. Log external call. So someone, of course, you get an external call, you log it, save the conversation, and then you kind of move to the next steps. Appointment booking, conversational bot. So anything that says beta at the time of this video, it's a newer feature that isn't fully fleshed out, but it's still pretty good. This is the AI. This is the conversational AI, but it's geared to book appointments based on a calendar that you select. You have to put in the prompt and the parameters, but this is a good way to get booked appointments on autopilot. So WhatsApp customer service window check. So pretty much if you have a business open at certain hours, then of course it can check for those hours and then before moving to the next stages of the automation. Same thing with WhatsApp. You can create automations and send them specific flows based on where they are with the automation itself. Update conversation AI status. So meaning you can cut it on or off based on what you want it to do here. So book appointment. This means like depending on certain conversational parameters, it's going to automatically book that appointment. I probably rely more on the AI bot or just maybe you scheduling or sending them a booking link, but this is an option that you have here. So send data. So webhooks. So you get data from a form. You want to send that to somebody else. You want to send that to another site or CRM. You have that data here. And the custom webhook just means you do a little bit of that more in depth where it's not just name, phone number, email, but you're actually getting custom fields involved as well. Same with Google Sheets. You can send data directly to Google Sheets, populated, so now you have a 24/7 report that's always being generated. Now here comes some of the internal actions. These are different. A lot of them deal with time, messaging, statuses, stuff like that, right? So let's go over them. So internal is if else, meaning let's say you have a form and you have a custom value. Let's say the custom value is what's your favorite color, red, blue, or green? Let's say and once you put if else, if the customer responds red, they go here. If the customer responds blue, they go here. If they do green, they go here, right? You create the customer journey based on what they do. You can now this is applicable for tags, for contact statuses, whatever that may be. If else branches off and creates pathways for the customer to take. Wait is going to be the one you probably use the most because it's a wait step, meaning you can wait 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour. You can also utilize these for appointments. So like 5 minutes before an appointment, an hour before an appointment, things of that nature. Goal event, I don't really use this too much. And to be honest, at the bottom, you can kind of dictate what that is once they mark the goal, but you can just keep the flow running. And at the bottom is obviously the goal that you'd want it to have. All right, here is split. So let's say you want to send two types of messaging. You can allocate it where they go here 50% of the time and then here 50% of the time. Then you can kind of measure which text messages stack up better versus just sending the same message every single time. Update custom values. So we went over custom values already. This would automatically update that. And this will be more for internal use. Again, a lot of these are going to be your operational, internal distributing leads. So it's not going to be a lot of customer facing attributes in this section. So go to means if you want to reroute a certain area. So meaning like, let's say they get to the bottom of your workflow and you want to loop it back to the beginning. You hit go to, drag them back up top, and they'll automatically put them down the same flow again. Applicable for many different ways. We'll definitely get into that in a later tutorial. Date and time formatter, self-explanatory. Number formatter, it just dictates how you want the certain numbers to look. Math operation, if you want to construct some math, meaning, so the math operation, pretty much you can assign numbers and do simple math problems with custom fields, dates, and times and stuff like that. Set event start date. So let's say somebody fills out a form for a webinar. You want to set that date for a month because you know, like next month you're doing your webinar. That way, all the automations, the emails, the text, those are going to draw from that date. So let's say your date is, March 8th. Okay. So everything you get for as how far you get the text and emails are going to be from March 8th. So that's why that's important. Add to workflow. So if they finish one workflow, you can add them to another one. Remove from workflow if they meet a certain criteria. Array functions. This is more for the data side, exporting data, using math problems, things of that nature. Not really a lot of times applicable unless you really are on the developer side of learning and creating your automations, which we are not. But it does have its places in certain aspects. Drip. This means that you can create workflows and actually drip people. So let's say you have 1,000 contacts in the workflow. You don't want to send 1,000 text messages per day at one time. You can send like maybe 500 on day one, another 500 or day two, or do 250 the first hour, 250 in 6 hours. You have that functionality. Text formatter. This formats the text a particular way. And custom code. This allows you to create some code for the actual customer. So custom code allows you to create code to create a specific workflow action. We don't do anything no code. We're not proficient in it. We don't mess with it. We do everything no code for the sake of the ease of use for the client. Next, we have the workflow AI. So this means you can send messages using ChatGPT based on previous fields you filled out. For example, let's say you want to do a meeting recap email. You can take the notes you've taken, ask ChatGPT to summarize it, and then the response will be added to an outbound email. Now, Liza, these are two earlier platforms like the AI appointment booking. These are obsolete for the most part. You definitely want to be using the conversational booking and the conversational AI instead of these two. Appointment booking, you update the appointment status. So cancel, no show, things of that nature. Generate a one-time booking link. Let's say you're in conversation and workflow. Hey, can I book a call? Instead of, in the actual message, you can just put generate one-time booking link and then send to that person. The opportunities, you can then go create your update opportunity is probably what you'll be using second most, meaning somebody fills out a form, then they get added to an opportunity, whether they're a new lead, whether they got a freebie for you. This is so you can keep your pipelines optimized and organized at all times. And depending on also what they do, you can remove that opportunity as well. Payments, you can do a one-time Stripe charge. So if you already have their card information, they're in actual workflow for a new sale or a new product, you can automatically do that depending if you have their consent. Then also send invoice, send estimate. So these are some things you already have pre-populated in your template section, and that's when you can build it from here and have it sent out automatically. Same for documents and contracts. Now for your marketing, you'll have to have these set up. So your Google Analytics, your Google AdWords. This data will populate once you have that set up and connected here. Same with your Facebook APIs, you have to connect them first. Then you can create actions from here as well. Affiliate. If somebody fills out a form, you can add them to the affiliate manager. You can update the affiliate contact information. You can add a specific affiliate to a campaign. Depending on what they do, you can remove them from a campaign. And let's say you're kind of helping your affiliates move along and get more sales, you can attach leads to that affiliate. And then same for manual sales. You can kind of look and see the exact numbers that these people are making as your affiliate. They're promoting and selling your product. IVR, there's more IVR outcomes that you can put. Again, we don't really do much with the IVR because it's still a little wonky. So we kind of stay away from it, but it's always there for you to use. Same for memberships. Let's say somebody pays an invoice. You can grant them the course offer, or you can send them the link to sign up themselves. Different ways that you can do it. Same thing for revoke offer. Let's say they may charge back or they may ask for a refund, but you already gave them access and you don't want to forget to go back and take them out. You can do it automatically. Same thing with the group access. So let's say somebody pays or someone signs up a form to join the community. You can give them access or revoke access depending on what happens. And then you can grant community leader points based on things they do. Then same here, you have certificates based on course outcomes. So I know we went through a lot again. I hope you're able to kind of see the things you can do with a lot of these actions. Some of it is not going to come into fruition until we actually build some stuff out. So you can see it, not only see how it's done, but get in the practice of building better workflows. GoHighLevel is a very, like I said, it's a toolbox. It's not the solution, it's a toolbox. If you're not using the right tools, if you're grabbing a hammer to screw something in, you're going to break something. So the next step is to make sure that we're using these triggers and these workflows the right way to get the best results. So thanks again, this is Rocket. I will see you in the next one.